the relationships that you're building are extremely important, actually. Because those are people that also want to build businesses. Those are people that are maybe good at finance, they may be good at marketing, they may be good at product development. Find your market first, and then sell to these people something. It can be a little service that costs £100, it can be a bigger service that costs £3,000, but there's still other people that have brilliant ideas, and if you're not exposing yourself to these conversations, it will take you a lot longer to find maybe the same solutions.
Philip Werner is the founder of multiple startups in the video production space. He started working for UFA, which is Germany's oldest and largest film and TV production company, but then started his own company to address a pain point he identified while working with content creators. That being ideas for the content itself. Essentially, creators were having trouble building the stories, researching the content, writing the scripts, storyboarding, things like that. We have, after all, hundreds of platforms for the curation and display of artistic expression in that medium, but not much that enables the planning and creation of it. So Maekersuite was founded in 2020 in London and bridges the gap that prevents a lot of otherwise talented and creative people from being as creative and productive as they would like to be. Maekersuite aims to directly address the planning and research stage of video production with a suite of AI-powered tools, effectively making them better storytellers, artists, and producers. So, Philip Werner, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much, Ray and Phil, for having me. It's a pleasure to be on the pod, and super excited to talk about stories and video and how we can hopefully help people create better stories and videos in the future.
Excellent. Thank you. Your resume is impressive. A master's in management from ESCP, which, for those listening that don't know, it's the world's oldest business school, ranked 4th in the world. You're a multiple-time founder, entrepreneur, managing director, and now CEO of Maekersuite. So, with all that said, let's start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your early life, where you grew up, your household and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born and raised in Munich in the south of Germany. And I grew up with a sister, and my dad's a lawyer. My mom's actually working in film as a scriptwriter and a producer. And that is the reason why my sister and I, we were exposed with storytelling and moving images very early on in our lives, right? There were always discussions about scripts. There were always movie discussions, always discussions with actors and how to basically direct certain scenes and how to make certain parts of a movie be more engaging, be more exciting. And we always, when we watched movies as a family, there was always this secondary layer, to watching the movie. So how was it produced? What could have done? What could they have done better? There was always a discussion about the actors, about the script writing, about everything. And we were always also involved in the giving feedback to my mother when they did a film and we saw the raw footage, and she showed it to us, and then we gave feedback and said, okay, this is maybe something that could be improved. This is something that I didn't understand. And then obviously this feedback, she took it, sometimes she took it and did something with it. Most of the time she probably didn't care that much. So I got exposure to storytelling and content creation from very early on. And then I decided not to go to film school or anything, but actually I wanted to understand how businesses are run and how to run a business and how to build businesses, what is necessary. And that's the reason why after school, I basically did a bachelor's in business administration in Germany. and then continued to study business during my master's. And I think looking back now, I think during the studies, I really didn't know anything about business, right? You get all the theory and all the different aspects that a business in theory should have. But then when you actually found a company, the reality looks a lot different, right? And it's not about the skills that you need to have to run a business successfully. You can't get them from studying business at university.
Yeah, like learning to dance by reading a book, right? Yeah. You find out when the music starts whether you can or not. We often hear though in the startup community, and you've echoed it slightly there, that such formal education is either not important or less important than experience. But now that you have both, how important where would you rank such formal education, given it's always going to serve as a component in your thinking, even when you look back now and maybe you think that's what that was about, and now you can understand it? Would you?
I think what it helps you do is to if you are facing an obstacle or a challenge, what formal education helps you do is think about a process and a logical process to actually tackle that challenge or obstacle or solve that problem that you're facing, right? What I also think is you're going to uni with 80 or 120 like-minded people, right, in your year. And I think the relationships that you're building are extremely important, actually. Because those are people that also want to build businesses. Those are people that are maybe good at finance. They may be good at marketing. They may be good at product development, right? And later on, when you're building your company, you need these people. You need to have sounding boards. You need to have people to ask for help. And therefore, I think the most important part of formal education or going to university is the network that you're building. I think I would say almost everything I know today, I've learned through YouTube and doing it hands-on, right? The stuff that I learned in uni, I mean, I don't even know what I learned there, but the friends and the network, I still have, and I talk to them on a daily basis.
You've access to expertise, at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
I found that I was on a few business development courses myself for SaaS products as well, and the main thing that I got from it was the cohort. It was the WhatsApp group absolutely. That we still use to this day, even years later, and it's constantly how you progress and what are you doing, and it's great to have that sounding board to feed it.
I finished an MBA 2 years ago, so quite late in life compared to people normally doing that, and I found it immensely valuable, but probably because I had a lot of work experience and context to understand concepts. Yeah, so I understand what you're saying.
To be honest, I think it would be more valuable to actually get 5 years of like practical experience, and then go to uni. Because then suddenly all the knowledge that they're dumping on you, it's actually.
I've seen this before. I know it has a name now. Yeah, instead of.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you're on with that cohort, would mentorship play a big role? So when you're studying as well, would you have had mentors, any business leaders that you still talk to now that have sort of influenced your decisions for the businesses?
I mean, yes and no. So the good thing about the unis that I went to, there was very small classrooms, right? So there was a almost intimate relationship with the professors, and therefore the teaching was on a very high level, I would say. Obviously, throughout, there was like extracurricular activities. For example, we organized startup events at the university, and through those activities, actually, you started building a network into the startup ecosystem. For example, for me here in Berlin, but also in London, very early on. Right, I was 21, 22 years old, I didn't have a clue about the world. But it was cool to actually I had the opportunity to organize all the press and the media for this conference that we were organizing. So I was talking to all these big time founders even before I had an idea who I was myself.
Yeah, nice.
And then a couple of years later on, you had their contacts and we were able, hey, 5 years ago, I organized this event and we corresponded for certain interviews. Can I ask you a question? Right. And that's exactly what I mean by going to uni. It is really about building relationships with your peers, but then also with the people that are above your year or maybe a year or 2 years below you. And just get to know as many people as possible, right? And obviously, they're all not going to end up in the startup world. Lots of them went to investment banking or consulting or the corporate world. But still, it's tremendously helpful to have people who are like-minded and to basically help you stay on track and stay focused and always look, okay, what are they doing? Am I doing the right thing? It's super exciting. What I then did differently than many others from uni is I went into media, right? And almost nobody from my university went into media. But that was obviously because of my background, right? I grew up with media, and during my internships, I also went into the fashion world. I then went to China to work for Volkswagen for a couple of months. Immediately found out that was not what I wanted to do, although it was a great experience, seeing a big company like Volkswagen operate in China from within. Fashion was super cool, but it was also not mine. And then my last internship that I actually did for a gaming company here in Berlin, and I loved it, and it basically it connected creative development with the startup ecosystem.
Storytelling specifically.
And storytelling, and absolutely. And that was super exciting. Although gaming was a little bit too nerdy for me at that time. The games that they were developing were not really my cup of tea. And then I basically then also wanted to venture into movie and film and see how that was. And then I applied in different companies, especially in Berlin and in Munich, because those are the two big hubs here in Germany. And then I had the opportunity to do an internship at UFA, which is a part of Fremantle and the Bertelsmann Group, one of the biggest media conglomerates in the world. And I started as an intern there, and then within 3-4 months worked my way up. I became a manager of strategy for their online business. Obviously, I was very lucky because when I joined them in 2011, 2012, online video started to become popular, right? There was the rise of YouTube. In Germany, there were only 3 people with over 1 million subscribers back then. And they were all gamers. So they were all Minecraft gamers and Call of Duty gamers. And it was extremely early in the online video game. Instagram didn't exist. Snapchat didn't exist. Facebook didn't have video back then, right? And influencer, the term influencer was nowhere to be seen. And my job was basically to come in there as a business guy and then figure out how can we, as the biggest production company in Germany, build new fields that we can operate in, right? And we then started talking to all these different influencers, all these different YouTubers, and we came up with creative concepts to then get advertising money or sponsorships or branded deals or things like that. And we were pioneering this here, and it was super exciting right? And did that for 2.5 years for Fremantle, and then felt like I can do this actually on my own. It's not a blue ocean, but it's very early in this industry is very young, and all the big advertising agencies and marketing agencies haven't really picked up on what was going on video in the social media space. Yeah, absolutely. And and then I basically started my first company when I was, I think I was 25.
And that company was it had video editing features on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was essentially an agency. It was a video production company and social media agency. So what we did was we developed creative concepts for social media for big brands like BMW, Opel, Tommy Hilfiger, and other brands from the automotive, fashion, and food industry. And
because you had the contacts there from previously.
Not necessarily. It was really fun. So, for example, Opel in the UK, it's called Vauxhall. I tried to sell to them for 2 years when I was working at Fremantle. I went to Hamburg several times to pitch ideas to them. Never got through. And then when we founded our own company, I went to a dinner here in Berlin, and I met someone who had the same PR agent as the CMO of Opel. And I told her that story, that I was trying to sell to them for 2 years, never got a chance. And then I got one intro to this PR manager, and she called me the next week and said, you have 30 minutes, come to Hamburg, and bring a couple of ideas. And then we prepared for a week. We had 3 different concepts in our bag. We drove to Hamburg and then pitched all 3 ideas in this 30-minute time frame that was given to us. And then 2 days later, they gave us a call and said, hey, Tina Müller, who was the then CMO of Opel, likes one of them. You can do it. And that's how we got in, and then we ended up working for them for over 3 years, doing their social media content. That was super exciting.
That was Elevant, the first.
Yeah, exactly. That was Elevant Media, exactly. And
do you look back at that company now as one of the evolutionary steps towards Maekersuite, because you had to automate all of that work into a platform?
100%. 100%. I mean, running an agency, I think, is extremely useful for any founder, right? Even if you're building a SaaS company in the beginning, what you should be doing is you should offer a service or you should offer a product, and behind the curtain, there's manual labor, right? Yes. Either you're doing the labor yourself, or you have your co-founder or a small team of interns helping you get the work done. But this is the cheapest way of actually testing whether your idea and what you're doing has a market.
Exactly.
Developing an idea, like saying, okay, this is my idea. I now throw £50,000 at this idea and I develop something. And then you have the app, and then you try to market it, is the complete wrong way to actually do it.
Absolutely,
right?
That's
because it's absolutely that's you have to do it the other way around. You have to find your market first, and then sell to these people something. It can be a little service that costs £100. It can be a bigger service that costs £3,000, and then you do the work manually first. You optimize that workflow for yourself, and then you start, okay, what part of the workflow can I automate? What part of the workflow can I start productize? And that is then the moment when you start actually investing into product development.
Yeah, I've heard a story of Stripe. Even when they were worth $2 billion, the Collison brothers themselves were still manually filling out forms in the back office when people signed up, because it was still manual. Even though it looked like it was automated, it wasn't. And they were worth $2 billion. So, as a startup founder, if you don't even have customers yet, to be trying to build all of the systems up front is definitely a mistake. They didn't do it, neither should you. Right?
You need to know all the processes and all the steps of what needs to be done, and keep adjusting that until it's spot on exactly what your customer wants, and then build it out. One film that I speak about a lot, Phil knows this, is The Founder. It's a fantastic film about McDonald's and how that was set up, but how they actually have each of the processes for creating the food. It's so tightly knit that you can throw any 16-year-old into that environment and they will churn out the same product. So slightly different than SaaS, but it's kind of the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get the process down.
Yeah.
I have to watch that movie. I don't know that movie. The Founder, it's called.
It's The Founder, Michael Keaton. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's so good. Like from a business and even from my thoughts from a SaaS perspective, it's actually really interesting.
Yeah, super.
Check it out.
I'll note that down. I'll watch it.
Cool.
So you built that business, mapped out all of the processes, and started to automate them, and eventually that evolved into Maekersuite, which you founded in 2020.
Yeah, I would love if the story was as clean as you just described, but it wasn't.
It wasn't it? You had that product, and then you realized you had, as far as I know from other interviews that I've watched with you, that you created a teleprompter type app.
Yeah,
and you gave that to users.
Was the first. Yeah,
and
so it was a bit messier than I would have liked to, but I think it was necessary, right? So Elephant Media was an agency. It was a completely different team. Everything was done manually. We had big productions with like 60 people on set doing calendar shoots and like 5-week video campaigns with like very, very high quality content video. And we then stopped that business because I wanted to do something different in my life. And obviously running an agency for 6 years, everything depending on you, your own creativity, your own ability to sell, it takes a lot out of you. And I didn't want to run an agency for the next 10 years. So when I turned 30, I really consciously sat down and was like, okay, do I want to build an agency for the next 10 years? Or do I want to build something that is a product for the next 10 years? We then basically fulfilled all our contracts. And I then left Berlin, moved to London, and started working on a new idea. And obviously, the first idea that we had, very correctly, as you said, Ray, was how can we make the production process easier for people, and how can we make it accessible to more people that want to create content? So what we did was we looked at the recording stage of video production, and we built a teleprompter application with a very simplified script writing tool. That allowed you to not only write the script, but then record your script block after block, right? So that you didn't have to edit much, but you simply could record the clips, and then the clips were concatenated automatically. So if you had a script, within 5-10 minutes, you could easily record something that was concatenated and gave you a nice video that was ready to be published on LinkedIn or on social media. And we built that product after we had done numerous interviews with the target audience that we thought that was most useful for. And those were self-employed professionals in the mental health space. So coaches, consultants, therapists, psychologists. And we built a tool for them. We got like 7,000 users on the product. But then we saw the same behavior over and over again. Lots of enthusiasm in the beginning, videos being recorded, but then everyone was not recording anymore. And then we hopped on calls with people, asking them, okay, what is happening? Why are you not creating content anymore? And the answer that we got was, it takes too much time, and I don't have the time to write scripts and come up with ideas every week to keep this going. and I'm still running my 9 to 5. I'm talking to my clients and my patients, and I simply don't have the energy to also run the social media channel on the side. And we didn't hear this from one person. We heard this from 150 people.
That's brilliant that you actually got on the calls with them, because that's where the gold is. That's where you get the information. You have to speak to the customers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The quantitative analytical data we'll get from just putting a few tags in Google Analytics on a website is great, but I've always felt that it only points you in the direction of where you should ask better questions. It's never an answer, and usually that requires that you would actually talk to a human and say, why did you behave this way, or why is your behavior driven in this direction, and find out the actual reason, which is what you're saying you've done there, which is gold. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I talk to customers and users every single week. Like this week alone, I'm probably talking to 20 people, I spend a lot of time really getting close to customers and users. And you might think, oh, this is going to be another one of these user interviews, but there's nuances and small things in every one of these conversations, and you learn new things. And it's amazing how much also creative input you get from users, because they have the same problem as you, right? Or as other people. And they think about, okay, how could Maekersuite be better to help me with this problem? Like yesterday, for example, I had a call with a user, and he gave me this gem, right? We talked about one of the features within Maekersuite, and he then asked me or told me, why don't you do it like this? And I was like, this is brilliant. We will definitely going to do it like this.
Yes.
And implement it like this. It reminded me a little bit of this. I don't know if you know this meme video, or this video with Elon Musk and this YouTuber where Elon Musk shows the YouTuber the rocket. And then the YouTuber talks to us, basically asks Elon if they're using this type of metal for the insulation or something like that. And he's like, no, we actually don't, but it's a good idea. We are going to do it. And then 1 year later they meet and they have actually done it. And that's exactly what I mean, right? You can think about it the whole day, the whole time, but there's still other people that have brilliant ideas, and if you're not exposing yourself to these conversations, it will take you a lot longer to find maybe the same solutions or slightly different solutions.
Yeah, myself and Ray have discussed this before, that as an individual you may have good ideas, there's a chance, but as a group you often have better quality ideas more often, and it's the network effect of, like you mentioned, with your alumni from college, or the network that you built over time. There's a magic within the network that can't exist inside an individual mind sometimes. Even Elon Musk, right? Which a lot of people look at. So I won't say perfected Maekersuite. You got it to a state of readiness where you could launch to a larger audience, and you ran a campaign on AppSumo, which seems to have played a significant role in your growth, including you had one campaign recently that resulted in $100,000 in lifetime deals in just 14 days. Can you outline, just for the aspiring and current founders out there who haven't started using AppSumo, or maybe have used it and not seen that results, some of the key elements in your campaign that led to it being so successful?
I think so. Where do I start? We got approached by AppSumo at the end of last year, and I knew about AppSumo because I'm following the founder on YouTube. I watched some of his YouTube content.
Noah Kagan.
Kagan, exactly. Brilliant content. If you don't watch it, I can really advise you watch his videos, especially the ones where he talks to founders and how they build their companies. Super insightful, very inspiring. So they approached us and they said, we think your product is a really good fit for our platform. And then we started talking. It was like an hour call where we talked about our product, our target audience, our vision, and they told us about the people that were on the platform buying these lifetime deals. And we then got out of this call and said, okay, this is we're definitely going to do this. And it then took, I would say, from November to mid-December to get everything in line. So we had to build certain tooling and APIs so we could integrate with AppSumo seamlessly. We had to do some fixes on the product. So we were ready for an influx of users. And then the campaign actually started in the second week of January this year. And this was really the first time that we actually went public or live with Maekersuite. And the first 3 days were, or I would say the first 14 days were really amazing. So what happens on AppSumo is instead of selling subscriptions, you sell lifetime deals. So people find you on the platform, and we had 3 different tiers on the platform. We still have 3 different tiers because the deal is currently now online again. It's our second campaign on AppSumo. And you can then choose between one of the 3 different tiers. They obviously have different usage limits. And what happened was that that a ton of people started buying these lifetime deals and started using the product. And then also the lifetime deal community is spread around the globe, I would say.
Yeah.
And a lot of people reached out to us asking for interviews and podcasts, and they wanted to learn more about us as a company. And we then also started doing live webinars to literally
doing walkthroughs and show people how to do it.
Exactly. Like
I've been on some of them, and they're brilliant because they not only let you show off the product and explain how it works, which is much easier for a lot of people instead of just purchasing something and then trying to figure it out. I'm not saying that your software is difficult. Like for any software, it's much easier for me visually to see somebody step through it. And then at the same time, because they're live, you have so many questions, and you're getting feedback as well as questions, so that can
absolutely
help.
Did you see an impact on the onboarding and usage and retention after doing these walkthroughs and AMAs?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not immediately after the webinar, but the week after, definitely, because more and more people pick up on it. They see it, and these are the most watched videos also on our YouTube channel. These walkthroughs, and yeah, extremely useful. What was also visible for us, every time someone somewhere around the world did a review or tutorial video about Maekersuite, we immediately saw it in the sales numbers, right? Okay. So sometimes we were like, okay, something happened today because 500 people signed up. But we didn't know what happened,
Yeah.
And then 1 or 2 days later, we actually found the video on YouTube that had 4,000 views talking about Maekersuite, and we was like, okay, this was the reason why we saw this surge in user numbers.
That's an interesting point. I wonder, because AppSumo would have affiliate links, and a lot of the lifetime platforms would have affiliate links, it would be interesting to be able to connect the actual founding team with whoever published content that brought them so many users. Because if you know that, then that's good to know that you can build a relationship with them probably going forward, and they can help, because they're a champion for your product at that stage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There was also the time when we actually built our affiliate program, because we saw this could be a really good lever for us. And we now have probably around 60 people in the affiliate program, and everyone can become an affiliate. So it's tremendously useful. Again, it's what I said before. It's the network and getting visibility and exposure to as many eyeballs as possible, and building relationships. I mean, you guys are also a perfect example. It's not the first time that we talk, right? Ray, you have helped us in the past, connected us with people. So in the beginning, that's and also later on, it's what makes businesses grow, right?
Exactly. It's the SaaS community online is massive. There's hundreds of thousands of marketing agencies and freelancers that use these tools. So they all want to know what the latest bit of technology is to help them produce content faster. And obviously Maekersuite is definitely one of them.
And it's highly collaborative as well. I've found anyone I've talked to, they're always giving advice and help. And you'd imagine there'd be more competition because we're all chasing the same customers, but it isn't like that at all. It's very supportive and collaborative, like I was saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you chose AppSumo again for a second time. Did you approach it differently, learning what you've learned with the influx of users in that? Did you run the campaign differently, or just the same thing again and be prepared for the volume?
No, we didn't do much differently, to be honest. I think we were pretty well prepared the first time. The second time, we just made sure that we have one more person on customer support. Because especially in the first time, it was extremely difficult to, when you sell to Asia and the United States and you're in Europe. Like I stayed up until like 3-4 a.m. Many days after each other, and it just is extremely exhausting. So this time we actually divided the day into thirds. Let's call it like that. And what we've also learned is that lots of the questions coming in, they don't need to be replied to immediately. Like it's fine if they get a response in like 3 or 4 hours, especially like the AppSumo questions on the AppSumo wall. So that's something that we in the first campaign we did, we answered everything within the first 5 minutes, right? And that's something that we have changed for our own sanity.
Yes, you can calm down on that now. But one thing that I found with other SaaS companies, probably applied to yourself as well, is just, especially with, say, an AppSumo campaign, people are asking the same 15, 20 questions like every day. So to have the resources available for an FAQ, I know AppSumo recently added that on the campaign pages, but for you guys to have a knowledge base and to have maybe the YouTube list of videos with like things broken down, like obvious things that people are going to ask. So that definitely helps. So you seem to have that content available. But
now we have everything ready, and we now have, I think, over 80 questions on our deal page. And what we have found is a lot of people actually read those questions and the answers. So during the first campaign, everyone was asking the same questions.
Exactly.
But now the questions that we get, they're new questions, right? And people actually make the effort to read what is already out there. So that's nice.
That is good, yeah.
Yeah, that's helps us.
And how did you? So AppSumo has been a great contributor to your growth. Did you do anything else beyond AppSumo to grow your user base?
Yeah. So what we learned from AppSumo is so we at the moment we have 3 different acquisition channels. We have the AppSumo campaigns that are running. We have strong SEO that basically creates the base layer of incoming new users and visitors to our pages. And then we have, over the last 2 months, also built a sales motion. So what we have done in end of March, April, and May is actually look at our users, talk to them, get them on the phone, and ask them, who are you? What are you using the product for? Is it for yourself? Is it for someone else? How many content pieces a month are you creating? how much research are you doing? How do you conduct your research? So really got into understanding who the people are that use the product the most and who also spend the most on the product, right? Mm-hmm. And what we've learned there is that initially we thought, okay, this is going to be the perfect tool for creators, right? But what we've learned is it's not only creators using the platform, it's especially freelancers and agencies using the platform who are creating content for others, and who make their living creating content for others, right? Because those people have several clients. They have to do research for all these different clients, industries and niches and target audience and everything. And for them, using Maekersuite yields a much, much bigger ROI than for someone who only creates 2 videos a month.
Absolutely.
Right? So that was extremely valuable to find out. And we learned this obviously during March, April, and May. And then we said, okay, how can we best sell to these people? Because obviously selling to a freelancer compared to selling to a big agency, completely different pair of shoes, right? Mm-hmm. Very, very different customer profiles. They also have very different requests when it comes to features, and also expectations and quality. And we then jumped on calls again. Talk to big agencies, mid-sized agencies, small agencies, freelancers, content agencies, media buying agencies, all types of people. And then we learned again, okay, this is a much more suitable customer profile than this one. And this one is absolutely out of range for us at this moment in time. And that is what happened over the last, I would say, 2.5 months. Building the sales motion, reaching out to this ideal customer profile, getting on sales calls, and then also selling the subscriptions, right? Because Maekersuite, we want to build a subscription-based business model. And obviously this is very different also to the AppSumo campaign where you're selling lifetime deals. So AppSumo is a great platform in the very beginning to get exposure to as many eyeballs as possible, to get users using the product, to learn their profiles and their user behavior. But it is, from a business perspective, it is not sustainable unless you stay on the platform forever and sell these licenses forever, right? So
and a high level of churn where they pay you and leave, right? Which is not ideal, obviously, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So for us, it was we have now started building, or we have built the sales motion, and now we sell directly to these agency type customers.
Yeah. So that's all marketing still, which a lot of people wouldn't consider. They just, they hear marketing, they think advertising, but that research, that constantly refocusing your efforts on who is actually the customer base is marketing, right? And shaping your product to fit that market is the ideal way to go. So I suppose we work with a lot of and just talk to in general pre-seed startups, bootstrapped startups, things like that, where marketing resources, funding, things like that is scarce, we'd say, or there's none at all. So if you were starting again back in the day with Elevant, say, for example, and could only use 3 marketing methods to attract users to your new company, to Maekersuite, for example, the cheaper the better, what would they be?
Am I selling a software product? A SaaS product.
So you mentioned AppSumo is definitely.
I would definitely AppSumo. Product Hunt is also a platform that I would definitely make use of.
Beta-list as well, another one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they're brilliant for just. This is something that I'm building and it's ugly and it doesn't work well, but get it out there now. Start now and start simple, sort of thing. Get it out there and make sure that people have an opportunity to give you the feedback, and then you build upon that of what feedback you're getting, what they want, rather than what you think that they want. Again, that's a massive pitfall for startups.
And you mentioned you have a strong focus on SEO and
SEO,
search engine traffic. You have specifically people hired to focus on this in your company,
Not specifically, but we have started doing it very, very early on. So we actually, when we started building the product in the Q1 2023, we simultaneously started building the content for the website, right? So we have now, I think, 50 or 60 articles on our website, and they create a really good base layer of traffic to the site every single month.
And where do you see that this traffic that's coming in through SEO it converts well? I mean, your B2B mostly, it seems to be, because of your client base is more agencies than individuals for themselves. So do you find that SEO has a different position in a marketing strategy for B2B versus the other things that have had a bigger impact on sales?
So for us, the traffic that comes through SEO, it's individuals. It's not agencies. It's the creator type or the freelancer that are trying to solve one specific problem. They find this article or a backlink somewhere, and then they find Maekersuite, and then they create an account. For B2B, I wouldn't say, for us at least, it's not working as of now. But for this individual, I mean, they're all also B2B because they all use it in a business context, right? But they're not big companies with 10, 20, 30, 50 employees. So, and SEO is something that it's not so expensive. We did it on the side, like every week we did like 3-4 articles that we then published, and then over the course of a year. Obviously that's a lot of content. And now it gets us low 5-digit traffic numbers every month, right? So that's something that I would definitely also do. I think what is most important, when you know who your people are, direct reach out, calling them, LinkedIn, really get your hands dirty and reach out.
And upsell even if they're already a customer, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Get your hands dirty, and you're not in the scaling stage, right? You're still at the stage of finding product market fit and finding these 2-3 characteristics that make someone your perfect customer. And therefore, hop on calls.
So don't scale until you do that.
No, because no. If you, it's the easiest way to burn yourself out and to also burn a lot of cash and time.
Absolutely.
is to spend money on ads, any form of ads, too early, right? You have to find this one person or this one character that likes using your product. Then find other people that are very similar to this character, and find, I don't know, 100, 200, 1,000 people that continuously use the product, and then make sure that they don't churn. Make sure that the retention for these people is high, that they come back even after 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12 months, still using the product. And then when you have this, then you can start advertising.
And what strategies would you use to prevent or reduce churn and to retain these customers? Is it reach out and interviews or different types of deals and offers?
No, it is. There's obviously different things that you can do. First, on the customer level, you have to talk to them. You have to understand what is the most valuable thing that they're getting out of using the product, right? If in our case, for some people, it might be the research part. For other cases, it might be the script writing part. For other ones, it might be the ability to organize everything. and have everything in one place for all your different clients. That's something that you need to find out. Then there is it's not really gamification, but it's little elements that make the user come back, right? So first of all, something that we are currently working on is showing you the progress of all your different projects, reminding you that certain projects maybe need some work, reminding you that a deadline is coming up and that you maybe should be putting in some work on to create one of the pieces in time for your deadline, those are the, I think, the product inherent type of things that you can do. Obviously, there's many more, but we can all capture them under the umbrella of we say gamified product elements that make it easy for a user to understand, okay, I've now been creating content for 6-8 weeks. Why is my channel not
growing
already? Already have 1 million subscribers, right? And what we want to show is like the average YouTube channel takes a couple of months to actually get traction, right? And certain things need to happen, certain milestones need to happen, and those are elements that will keep you motivated if you hit those milestones, and that's something that we want to more and more integrate into the product.
Yeah. We've it's great to hear about the evolution of Maekersuite, that you didn't just decide this is the product and then try and cram it into a market. The evolution of it is very interesting to hear about, and how you're chasing product market fit, which is, the golden fleece of any product really that everyone should be striving for. We started planning this conversation the old-fashioned way, writing out questions, how should we structure it, but then we actually used Maekersuite to plan it out and improve it further. You'll be happy to hear. And we found it really accelerated and improved the flow and the planning of how this should go. And you can tell us afterwards how you felt it went, and if it needs improvement or not, and we can talk about that offline. Are there any? I suppose you're seeing customers use it in a different way. Is there any outlying, unexpected ways that customers have used it to create content that is possibly going to be on your roadmap later?
You described one, podcast.
Perfect.
So I don't want to give away too much, but I have a video background, right? I everything in my life is about storytelling and telling engaging stories to either sell or to inform people, educate people about certain topics, right? Back in the days, I didn't only do commercials. I also did like lots of documentaries about the food industry, about politics and stuff like that. So for me, the word above my life is storytelling, right? And Maekersuite is at the moment starting out with research and script writing, because those are the starting points of every story that needs or wants to be told, right? The use case that we currently focus on is video, but storytelling touches so many different aspects of life, right? It touches podcasting, it touches news and journalism, it touches audio, it touches gaming, it touches all these different aspects. So my vision for the company is actually to build a data-driven and AI-enabled platform for storytelling. And if we in 10, 15 years, I want people who create all sorts of content to be able to use Maekersuite to help them become better storytellers and create more engaging and relevant content for whatever they are trying to do. Right?
Yeah.
So Yeah.
So as your product market fit evolves like this, we actually wanted to ask a question about Maekersuite in 3 to 5 years, and you've been asked that on a couple of podcasts we watched interviewing you. But with AI that you just mentioned, developing so rapidly, 3 to 5 years feels like 3 to 5 decades.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's your perspective on how things are going there with AI and how it integrates with Maekersuite?
So I love what is happening in the space at the moment. So much is happening. It's almost difficult to keep up with all the different tools that are popping up. For us, we also always made it very clear that we want to build something that enables humans. That's the first thing. We then also always made very clear that we're not developing our own models at the moment. For us, seeing all this progress that is being made, whether it's on the text generation, image generation, or video generation, we want to basically build the ecosystem where all these different models then can be integrated into to help create good content, right? So I am very excited about the speed and the changes in the ecosystem. I don't feel threatened by it. I see it as an opportunity, and as soon as we feel comfortable that some of these models make sense to be integrated into our platform, we will do it. For now, we feel most comfortable having the integration of LLMs in Maekersuite, but in the future there will be. We're already discussing it internally. How image generation or video generation will come to the platform.
That's exciting. I've been following the progressions in AI for many years now, and seeing, like, when I first tried Google Labs for image generation way before Midjourney came out, looking at the images it produced was horrific. Like, it was horrible stuff. But compared to the video that's being created now, is like Dream Machine at the minute is killing it. So it's great. For the actual workflows for AI within Maekersuite, do you plan to allow users to use agents to actually, form a flow of multiple tasks and actually get the user a lot further than the user having to interact so much, so that they can get more of a final polished product or script or video out of it?
With multiple agents, multiple AI LLMs plugged in, perhaps to do different tasks, maybe, is that something in your thinking?
Absolutely. So what is very important to us is we still don't want to fully automate everything. We want to give the user the ability to influence what is happening. And we also, that is something that one aspect I don't have an answer to yet is, how will the AI generated content integrate with the content that is done by the human, right? The human who goes out with the camera and shoots stuff, and how is it then integrated with the content that is being created within Maekersuite? So yeah, it's not something that I can answer right at this moment in time. But
it needs work as a product. I think workflows are still in their infancy. As exciting as they are, we talk about this a lot, about the potential of them, but it is still new, and it may be a bit clunky and remove the human element a bit too much still.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we fully agree. Okay.
Yeah. I guess I was just going to ask questions about running the company. I know a lot of you are remote. How many people in the company now, and how do you track the progress of the product and the business as a whole?
Yeah, so at the moment we are 4 people, and we are all very, very independent, very responsible people who chat multiple times a day. We use Jira and different Atlassian products to track everything. That's on the development side, right? And we usually have, I would say, a big strategy meeting regarding the product every 3 to 4 weeks, and then we work in 2-week sprints, and then also consolidate all the feedback that we get from our public roadmap, all the feedback that we get from our Discord channels, and the feedback that we get through email and our chat that is within the product. And then we have a massive backlog where we really we basically ask ourselves and the users how valuable this is going to be, how much time it will take, what are the difficulties, what are the dependencies, and this is how we then decide what we are developing next, right? Because some of the features that are requested might be extremely cool, and we might want to work on them, but maybe it's more sensible to restructure the database before you do that, or it's like there are dependencies, right? So that's how we run the business. Very, very clear and structured process, very clear meeting schedules, where every one of us has certain homework to do that needs to be presented. It's very data driven. And as you said before about marketing, like marketing is not only putting something out there. Marketing and so is product development, right? It's gathering the data, making sense of the data that you have, and then inform your own decision making using that data, right? And a lot of time from the team is spent on actually making sense of the data that we see. That's retention numbers, user numbers, how many explorations are done, how many videos are being analyzed, how many scripts are being generated, where do they stop in the script writing flow, and then making sense of that, and then turning these findings into actionable items for development.
That's excellent. We firmly believe in that. Data is what makes the business, really. You need that. You need to take it in. You need to not only take it in, because I've worked with companies who can collect all the data and then it sits there and they go, yeah, that's grand, we've collected it all. Yeah. But you need to actually use that and make that determine the path that you're actually going to take going forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. I guess that's been an excellent interview. That was really enjoyable. I guess one thing for our audience that we'd love to ask is, could you share a book, podcast, or resource to help them that really immensely helped you on your entrepreneurial journey?
So one book for everyone who is building a company and wants to raise money that I can highly recommend is Get Backed. It's a book about how to build a pitch deck, how to build your fundraising process, and how to tell your own story. It's a really, really good book that allowed me to learn many, many things about fundraising. That is a book. A podcast that I listen to week in, week out is the All In podcast. It's super, super interesting, super insightful. Talks about economics, politics, the startup ecosystem, mostly in the US, but they also sometimes touch on European things. And I think it's the right mix of everything, right? And for interesting dudes that have a lot of experience, very successful businessmen, and I enjoy listening to it every Sunday. And yeah, those are my two recommendations.
I must check that one out.
Perfect.
I haven't listened to that. Excellent. That's great. I think we got through a lot of lot of story there, which I think will be really helpful for anyone listening to this who is either a startup founder, is looking to create a software. I think the main tip that I got from this was interview people, as in chat to people, get on the call, get on a video call or whatever and chat to them and just find out what it is that's working for them, what's not working for them. And in them conversations, you'll find them little gems that will spring up in multiple conversations, and maybe that's the thing that you need to be focusing on going forward.
Yeah, and product market 100%. Fit should really be market to product fit, right? Rather than
yeah, absolutely. Like find the market first, find the problem, and build the solution first before trying to build a product and then finding people that might want it. It's backwards. Get things right, collect the data, and do the marketing first. As far as I'm concerned,
and launch on AppSumo.
Absolutely. I can only recommend it.
Excellent. Okay. That's a good pitch for AppSumo there. Yeah. Brilliant. Philip, thank you so much for your time. And we will we'll send on the details of this podcast as soon as it's edited and get it up online for you guys to share then as well.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and hope
the pleasure was all mine, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Excellent stuff. Thanks so much. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.